20 years ago, we would have talked about the glass ceiling, right? And that, we used to press upon it, and people said, oh, the glass ceiling went away. It didn't go away. It's still there. We just keep pushing it further up and challenging it. And women's equality to me, it's kind of like, what it means to me is that at some point I don't want to talk about it anymore. That it means that, who I am in terms of my gender shouldn't influence what job I get or the work that I do, and that I'm just as competent and capable as anyone else in this role.
Today, we commemorate the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, which granted women the right to vote, but also we reflect on women's continuing efforts toward full equality. Women's Equality Day. In honor of this National Day of celebration, we spoke with some of the City of Wilmington's hardworking female employees about their experiences.
It means that I can actually pick up a hammer just like a guy can. I can, get the same pay because I'm doing the same job. Equality has been coming a long time. Is it totally here? No. But we've come a long way, and I'm so happy. And the city has come a long way with it, so I'm glad.
Women's equality means just not feeling hindered by being a woman. I feel like women, we should be able to motivate each other, and even just going through childbirth, that was just a huge accomplishment in itself. So I just can see how powerful women can be and how strong we can be. If working together, we can even be stronger than just ourselves.
So there is one word that comes to mind. The word is belonging. And it's a simple word, but it's so impactful. When I think of women's equality, or not even necessarily women, just insert marginalized group here, and make them feel like they belong. And not just make them feel like that, but truly invite them and let them have that sense of belonging.
I think for me, women's equality means that women have the same opportunities as men in the workplace, in the home, in the way that they're treated in the justice system.
I feel that overall there is much more just respect on a day-to-day basis for women than there was 20 years ago, which is crazy to say that I can say that.
I'm seeing women come in the traditionally quote-unquote male-dominated field. So in the area of construction, we have female police officers, female firefighters.
I see that they're hiring a lot more technical women as far as being in the field. And putting them in supervisor roles also, which helps out a lot.
I've definitely seen more women in department head roles. So when we think about the leaders of our departments, from the time I started way back as a budget analyst coming out of grad school, there's been more opportunities there, and especially in non-traditional roles.
I'm on the SWAT team as a medic. That was another cool thing that I was able to embark on. I think recently we just got a girl on the SWAT team.
I think there's been a lot more acceptance of remote or hybrid schedules, flexible schedules, Zoom meetings, just the acceptance of that. And I think that helps everyone, honestly, regardless of gender, but I do think that for women who just still tend to be the main caregivers for their children, having that opportunity, having that option with the flexibility really helps.
So when I had my first child in 2008, we didn't have maternity or paternity leave, so that has been a big improvement.
Having my employer be flexible with me has definitely helped me as a mom and helped me both have my career but be a mom at the same time. It's been a struggle, but I feel like my career is super important to me, so having someone that understands that has been super helpful.
Well, I think it's important that when I was first elected and came into this city government, municipal government, and even as mayor, the discrepancy in department heads and how many it was so heavily male dominated. Today it's almost, as I said, 50-50 with female to male. The other thing is in our new executive management teams, and we have 9 out of the 16 are women. So that's a very good thing for our city and our city government, is to have women in positions of authority and management positions, executive staff positions that are very important to our community. So I think that speaks volumes about where we as a city are going.
There's been an assumption that I'm in a support role, that maybe I'm like an administrative assistant for my boss or something. I've gotten that a lot. People saying, I thought you were Dave's secretary.
You know, just on a day-to-day basis, I supervise 2 men, and people sometimes tend to speak to the men like they're the ones in charge.
There are certain stereotypes about my race, about my gender, that I have had to combat and that I've had to pretty much just overcome, truthfully. I feel like I've had to prove myself. I've had to prove that I'm worthy of a seat at the table.
Basically, I would love to see more women get hired on.
You know, I do think that having females in the fire department is a really good thing because we are different. We have a different point of view.
And when you think about the demographics of our community, you know, we need to be responsive and represent that community, and women do, and they bring their own viewpoint to the table, their own thoughts, and their own power, right? And so it's important to have them in positions of leadership, and then making sure that our benefit packages and what we offer in terms of salary are fair and equitable across the board.
Having those advancement opportunities for women is pretty important. Having that diverse perspective up at all levels of the city, especially the higher leadership levels. I mean, I'm so excited that we have a female deputy city manager now.
I would like to see more opportunities for women of color and LGBTQIA women have the opportunities to advance and be promoted as much as their white counterparts.
I had 2 very powerful women in my life as a young person. It was my grandmother, who immigrated into this country in the 1930s, and my mother came in 1947. And my grandmother lost her husband at a very young age, could not speak a word of English, raised 3 kids in this community in the 1930s and 40s and 50s on her own, and did it without being able to speak the English language. And it showed me the tenacity and the toughness and the foresight of what she wanted for her family, and that she would do anything that she needed to do to make that happen. And I always have a very fond place in my heart for her because she helped raise me. And my mother, who immigrated here in '47 after the Civil War in Greece, that came through tough circumstances. I told my mother this not too long ago because she just visited Greece. She grew up with no running water, no electricity, and an outhouse. So she almost grew up like Abraham Lincoln. And what they had to endure to get here, and then for her to come to this great country, marry my father, and obviously raise 5 kids here. As a housewife, she wasn't given the opportunity in many ways to get the education that I think she would have wanted. But to see these 2 strong women, how they raised their families and how much they meant to me, and showed me that a woman can do anything she wants to do.